So this is my latest acquisition. It's the Ingersoll Rand single stage 60 gallon 5 horse. And unfortunately, during the unloading event, we had a little boo-boo. As you can see, it's kind of messed up a little bit. Ooh, bad boo-boo. Also, bad boo-boo. Fin. Now this is a 220 unit. I think a 30 amp circuit will be plenty for it. It's not a welder. Just starting amps is where it draws so much. So what I plan on doing, since I've got 220 run out here, 30 amp circuit, is to replace this 120 amp circuit right here with this, which says 30 amp 125, but I think you can use it for a 230. I've got this, plugs into it. And of course I had to buy 4 foot of 10 gauge cable and a 220 breaker, 30 amp. So now I've got to retrofit these breaker and all to make that a 220 outlet. We're going to try to get this apart. This looks like a stud. I don't know if y'all can see in there. It's a stud or something in there. So I've got to straighten this stud up. And hopefully we can get it working like we want to. Might work. I'm gonna just try to get in there straight without tearing the threads all to hell. See if I can get this nut off here. And I think I can just take a hammer since I'm not going to use that. And as we see, it's bent pretty bad. Even got a little bit in my air cleaner. Yeah, I don't know if I'd ever straighten that back out. Now the base is bowed up right here, as y'all can tell. Got a high spot. Looks like I got a. That's gonna be hard to get to. Got a pretty good dent right there. I'm gonna take these pliers and bend that back out a little bit. I wished I could have found a replacement online, but I just didn't have no luck finding any kind of replacement for this. Main thing I want to do was try to work on this, and I'm going to put it up here on my anvil so I have a flat, hard surface. I'm really just flattening that area right there, and I don't want to. I've got the hole pretty well closed up. See if it's going to fit on my base. Notice on this base I've got this flat area that's probably going to correspond with that. And it's going to fit. It just ain't going to fit like I want it to. Now I think what I can do is screw this in and prise up on this filter housing to straighten this out on this side. I'm going to go ahead and screw this in. As tight as it'll go. Prise up on it a little bit. Need a little more prizing. Pretty good. Alright, so now we have got to work on this. Now I could probably heat that up and bend it. That's going to make it weak. The only surefire way I know is to go ahead and run this in, and then take a ratchet I run this up and take a ratchet and bend it. Well, I may not even be able to have to do that. Of course, I'm gonna have to get me a damn, yeah. Well, that's better than it was. Still needs a little bit. Let's see if I can get y'all back in the light here. You can tell it's definitely better than it was. Y'all see that, what I'm doing? Now if I had a a die, I could run down that and clean them threads out. I don't think I got to go much further than that with it. A lot of times all you need is these restoring sets, and that don't really cut new threads, it just straightens out the old ones. We'll see how well that works when we get our nut. I believe that'll work. Alright, so we're ready to put her back together. I hope. And you could put something on that, tighten it on up a little bit. Good enough. We got it mounted. Now it's time to get some oil in here. So oil filler plugs right here on the side. If it ain't too tight, you can get it off with your thumb. If not, it's got a little slot in it to put a flat-headed screwdriver in. Alright, so we've cut the tip off our bottle. Now we're just going to stick it in here. And once that oil level come up. All right, I got a full sight glass, so I'm gonna stop right there. I don't want to overfill it too much. And the leaves are falling down. So the next step is to wire this baby up. So over here on the side, well, right here on the top, we got a flathead Phillips head combination. Let me get that off first. All right. And then over here on the side, we got a little old plug that pops out. All right, so we got, it's just like a well pump switch. If y'all ever had to deal with a well pump switch. We got a ground, this green wire, this is a hot, this is a hot. All right, then the new wires will come through, take its plug out, we'll put another this style thing on here, and then we'll hook it up to this one and this one. And as the pressure builds up, it opens and closes this contact. When it's up high enough, it opens. When it drops down, it closes. And that touches these two wires together on both sides, and then the compressor will run. This is your sensing line that tells it how much pressure is in this tank. Notice it runs over there to that safety. Well, not to the safety, to the inlet. Here's the safety. When this thing, if it over pressurizes, it pops the safety out and blows excess pressure out. I do like the fact that it's got a ball valve rather than a screw-on type valve. That I do like. Alright, so we got to get one of these hickeys, and we got to get some spade connectors for our wire. Now, I went ahead and put my connectors on here. I've got these for the power wires. I've got a spade one for the ground. Now, it probably would have been easier if I'd waited and got my wire pushed in. I've already got the clamp on here. So it's just a matter of routing these wires. I did test fit it, and I ended up having to go back and cut a little more off this insulation. Now we've got a little ground wire right here. It's going to kind of be in our way. And see that all three ain't going to fit at the same time, so I'm going to have to do two and then one. Open. Yeah, it'll fold back in there pretty neat and nice. Alright, I'll show you what this mess of wires look like. The ground wire back behind here, there's another ground right here. And of course your whites and your blacks together. That's what you want. I had just enough insulation cut off that time to fit it. I didn't have quite enough earlier. So now we're ready to put the cap back on. We'll tighten the cap down. And I just realized on this picture, they've got the on off. The on off is on this label on the wrong side. So if you look at this, it says on auto with lever off. And you think, hell, it's supposed to be a lever over here, but no, the lever's right here. And that's on auto and that's off. And all that does is force them contacts back. Now when you go to on or auto with it, it forces the contacts, releases the contacts. If the contacts need to close, they'll close. If not, they'll stay open. So we're gonna turn it off for right now. All right, so I think this will be plenty long enough to reach where I want to go. Now I've got to put my other outlet end on here. This outlet end is a little bit crazy looking. I thought to start with that it was not going to work, but I think it will. This is a travel trailer plug, believe it or not. But it was a heck of a lot cheaper than some of the other plugs I looked at. So I looked at this thing, I'm like, wait a minute, this is a female. That ain't gonna work. But then I realized all the connectors was in the bag. That's got to be hooked up. I don't know what that's good for right there. Maybe it goes there. So we'll get that hooked up and you know, hot and ground. We'll try this plug. If that don't work, we'll do something else. Alright guys, I've been working, got this plug on here. I don't particularly like it. As you can see, that little, I think that little green thing, it can come down, extend down a little further. But I've had to twist some of these wires to get it to fit right. So anyway, it will fit my plug. What I'll do, I went ahead and moved my old air compressor out of the way to give y'all a view of what I'm dealing with back here. As you can see, I got a little sunk in area where the concrete cracked. Now, I've already measured and it will fit in this area. So all I've got to do is come out, put me like a 1x4, level it, pour pad, and we're ready to stick some bolts in. And the back foot's gonna go here, and then there's 2 feet here. What I thought I'd do right now is go ahead and change this out to that 220 volt plug. I've already killed the power out there at the breaker, and so it's just a matter of taking that out and swapping that plug. Alright, we got that hooked up. That was pretty simple hookup. Just 3 little screws, let them out, stick the wire in, tighten them back up. Pretty simple. Now my hole, as you can see, ain't got no cover for it, so it looks pretty ugly in that hole now. Alright, now I'm ready to kill the main power to the building so that I can swap out and put this 220 volt breaker set in. So I'll get that in, and then I guess next video we'll try to get this thing off the pallet and get it slid back. I'm gonna go ahead and slide it in here. I think it's ground level, not level, it's sloping down, but if I can go ahead and get it in, slid back, we might shim it up a little bit for time being, and be using it. I don't want to use this anymore because now I've lost my dedicated circuit for it. This thing will not start up on a 20 amp circuit. It trips breakers, so it will be going out to the other building. So anyway guys, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more on this air compressor install.